Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Welcome learners, my name is Stephen Kariungi. Today we continue with our topic of discussion, acids, bases and salts. So today I would basically want us to discuss salts. We defined a salt as a chemical substance that is formed when the metal ions in a base react with the non-metallic ions in the acid. That's one of the definitions that we gave. That when the metallic ions from the base react with the non-metallic ions from the acid, we get a salt. Or we said is the compound formed when the hydrogen atoms in an acid are replaced with a metallic ion or with ammonium ion. So we'll say that a salt is a compound formed when the non-metallic ion from the acid combines with the metallic ion from the base. And that's what leads to neutralization. On the other hand, we say that a salt is also the compound formed, as another definition, when hydrogen atoms in an acid are replaced by a metallic ion or ammonium ion. So both definitions are acceptable as far as you are defining what a salt is. So based on this, we are going to discuss precipitation reactions. Precipitation reactions are reactions that we learned in Form 2, and those reactions were all about formation of salts by precipitation. And this is basically whereby you take two salts that are soluble and then you combine them together to form an insoluble salt as one of the products. To form an insoluble salt as one of the products. So we can say that these are reactions where two soluble salts combine to form an insoluble salt and a soluble salt. And the insoluble salt is what we call the precipitate because it has been formed as a result of precipitation. So insoluble salt is called a precipitate. Hence the word precipitation. We'll take some examples of precipitation. We can take a salt such as sodium carbonate, a solution in solution form, plus magnesium nitrate. Another soluble salt. Those are two soluble salts. And when those two soluble salts are combined, they will exchange their ions. So sodium takes the nitrate ions, magnesium takes the carbonate ions. So you have magnesium carbonate, which is insoluble, and sodium nitrate, which is soluble. So if you balance the equation, it is balanced. So the magnesium carbonate that has been formed, this is a white precipitate. And it has been formed as a result of carbonate ions. So you can write this in form of ionic equation. So ionically, we are saying that the carbonate ions, they were in solution form. They combine with magnesium ions in solution as well to form magnesium carbonate, which is now the white precipitate. So this is the ionic form of this equation. This is the complete equation, and this is the ionic equation that shows the precipitation, or that shows how the precipitate has been formed. So you can also take another example. Another example, we can take lead 2 nitrate, which is a solution, and this one we combine it with sodium sulfate, which is also an aqueous solution, and we will get the exchange of ions happening. Lead 2 takes the sulfate, so we'll have lead 2 sulfate, which is an insoluble salt, hence is a precipitate, and sodium nitrate, which is soluble. So this is a white precipitate, a white PPT, the short form of precipitate. So basically that's another equation, and on this, ionically, what is happening is that lead 2 ions are combining with the sulfate ions to form lead 2 sulfate, which is the white precipitate, as you have seen. So example number 1 and 2 are examples of precipitation reactions, whereby two soluble salts combine to form an insoluble salt and a soluble salt. We can still take the third example, and on this we'll take sodium carbonate, which is soluble, plus calcium chloride, another soluble salt, and here after the exchange we shall have sodium chloride and calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is an insoluble salt, plus sodium chloride, which is soluble. Balance, this is a white precipitate. It's balanced. So ionically as well, so we have the precipitate is calcium carbonate formed from the carbonate ions combining with the calcium ions. Both were in solution form before, and we have calcium carbonate, which is the white precipitate. So the three examples demonstrate precipitation reactions. So these precipitation reactions are based on the knowledge of solubility. And based on the solubility, we know that all salts of sodium, potassium, and ammonium are soluble in water. So they can be used during precipitation reactions. They can be used during precipitation reactions, like we have used sodium in this particular case to show how the precipitation reactions occur. So our assignment the first question, what is a precipitation reaction? 2, write ionic equations for the formation of A, barium sulfate, 2, lead 2 chloride, and C, silver chloride by precipitation. So we'll stop there until next time. Goodbye.